A new cookery book developed with sensory scientists hopes to help those still suffering from a loss or distortion of smell and taste after having had COVID-19. Some sufferers with long COVID experience parosmia. That's when the brain doesn't detect the correct smell. So foods such as chocolate, coffee and garlic taste completely different. Others have anosmia, which is when both smell and taste disappear. Some have even said certain foods now taste and smell revolting. Now, joining us for more on this, we have Professor Barry Smith. He's the founding director of the Center for the Study of Senses, and Ryan Riley, who co-authored the book Taste and Flavor and is also the founder of Life Kitchen that provides free cookery classes for people living with smell and taste loss. Thank you so much to the both of you for joining us here on Euronews Now. Professor Smith, if I may start with you, how many people are actually suffering from the loss of smell actually after having had COVID-19?
Well, we know that around about 120 million people have suffered from COVID-19, and we reckon that 65% of those will have some smell disorder. Now, most of them will recover within their sense of smell within 2 weeks, but perhaps as many as 10% will have long-term smell problems, and that's a very big number now.
So, I mean, we're talking about a cookery book here. Describe what's it like to not have any smell when it comes to cooking food?
Well, most people don't realize that your sense of smell is giving you most of the things that we call tastes. In fact, the tongue gives you very little. It gives you salt, sweet, sour, bitter, savory. And yet, most of the things we taste, onion, garlic, chicken, lamb, melon, mango, they come from the nose. You don't have mango receptors on your tongue. That's always because the odors are going from your mouth up to the back of the throat and up to the nose, and that's what gives you the big flavor hit. So when you take that out, people say, I really can't taste anything at all. If we test them, we find they can taste salt, sweet, sour with some lemon juice or sugar, but that's about all.
Ryan, what's your involvement in this book? Why did you come about to writing this?
Well, in Life Kitchen, we have always focused on people with loss of taste due to cancer treatment. And this time round, we thought it was best to try and help people with the loss of taste through COVID. And so the book came about out of a desire and a need to do something.
I mean, the loss of smell here, that's what we heard from Professor Smith, but also the loss of taste. I mean, what's it like to try to eat something where you can't smell it and you can't taste it?
It can be really dispiriting for so many people. And actually, we've been dealing with cancer patients for years with this problem. And for them, it's all about trying to get them back around the table into the idea of eating and cooking. That can be the first step even before trying to tackle taste and flavor loss.
So what kind of foods would you recommend that people cook if they don't have smell and taste?
Well, we're looking at ways that we can kind of really put oomph into the palate. Lots of real rich umami ingredients like soy sauce or miso or parmesan. And then we're looking at layering flavors, so adding citrus and brightness and things like pickled pineapple. Pineapple has an enzyme that stimulates saliva production, feels very beautifully, like mouth-watering. So it's all about trying to bring those things back into the recipes, but while avoiding the trigger ingredients that can cause the parosmia side that you talked about earlier. And it's about just trying to get people into the idea of cooking with some real good inspiration, and they can take it off in their own direction.
Professor Smith, there finally, I mean, if you've had smell and taste before, you kind of know what chocolate is supposed to taste like. Can you actually relearn what it's supposed to taste like?
Well, you can, but it's going to take a while. So when people have lost a sense of smell and it returns gradually, then they develop quite often parosmia, this distorted perception of familiar odors. And chocolate and coffee, things that people absolutely adore, actually smell and taste disgusting. People describe coffee as like fruity sewage, and that's going to be very off-putting. So it'll take a while for those senses of smell to regulate your new regenerating receptors to relearn the code. But in the middle of that, we've got Ryan trying to provide cooking recipes for those safe foods that don't trigger the disgust response to give people enjoyment and pleasure and also the nutrition they need.